A Hamas delegation left Gaza ceasefire talks in Cairo without any deal. Israel and Hamas have blamed each other for a lack of agreement after 4 days of talks mediated by Qatar and Egypt about a 40-day ceasefire amid fears of violence and that it could escalate further. Now, remember, these talks happened at a time when Israel has been blocking aid to Gaza. Here's a report.
These airdrops of aid may provide a brief glimpse of hope for some Gazans on Tuesday, as Hamas said negotiators from the militant group will remain in Cairo for another day at the request of mediators, keeping ceasefire talks going after 2 days with no breakthrough. This extension comes just days before the start of Ramadan, the Muslim fasting month, which is due to start next week. The Cairo talks had been billed as a final hurdle to reach the war's first extended ceasefire. It would be a 40-day truce between Israel and Hamas, during which dozens of Israeli hostages would be freed, and aid would be pumped into Gaza to stave off a famine. 3 security sources from host and mediator Egypt told Reuters the warring sides still wanted a deal, but still sticking to demands that had held up an agreement so far. Israel says it is interested only in a temporary truce during which more hostages would be freed. Hamas says it wants any deal to lead to a permanent end to hostilities. The Egyptian security sources said US, Egyptians and Qatari mediators were seeking to overcome this difference by offering separate guarantees to Hamas of peace talks to end the war. In Rafah, displaced Gazans like Yasmin Mahani said on Monday they yearned for peace after 5 months of war.
We want to return to our cities, our houses, to our families. We are tired, we have been dispersed. There's no aid for the Palestinian people. We need radical solutions.
Senior Hamas official Bassem Naim told Reuters the militant group had presented its proposal for a ceasefire agreement to the mediators and was now waiting for a response from the Israelis, who have stayed away from this round. Israel has declined to comment publicly on the talks in Cairo, but a senior Israeli official denied Israel was holding up a deal, saying they were waiting a response from Hamas. A source told Reuters earlier that Israel was staying away because Hamas had rejected its demand to furnish a list of all hostages who were still alive. Naim said this was impossible without a ceasefire first, as hostages were scattered across the war zone and held by separate groups. Washington, Israel's closest ally, has said an Israeli-approved deal is already on the table, and it is up to Hamas to accept it. Hamas disputes this account as an attempt to deflect blame from Israel if the talks collapse with no deal.